Organic diets and environmental sustainability. So what are organic diets? There's 4 types of organic food, which the 4 are 100% organic, made with organic ingredients, and all natural, free range and hormone free. So 100% organic is that all the ingredients in the product are organic. And then we have organic, which is at least 95% of them are organic. And then we have made with organic ingredients, and that is at least 70% of ingredients are organic, and those foods are not allowed to have an organic seal. And then we have all natural, free range, and hormone free, which those don't mean at all that the product is organic. And how organic foods are made and produced. Organic crops are grown in the soil that are composed of plants that are needed from all year round, as well as crop rotations need to be done at the right time, or you'll get dust bowls, erosion, and the crops in general can be contaminated. The pesticides and fertilizers used to grow crops are 100% natural and organic. They do not use any synthetic fertilizers or pesticides. The synthetic ones are used on conventional farming. The animal life there, they are only fed organic foods, and they live in healthy indoor-outdoor environments where they can roam freely, as well as they get their shots to help prevent diseases. And their pasture feeding is about 30% of the nutrients that they need daily. So overall, we can conclude that organic diets are eating foods that are grown and produced with only organic ingredients or naturally grown, which we learned that from Mayo Clinic and J. Coulson J. So the issues with organic diets. So some of the issues with organic diets are, the biggest one is cost. It costs about 50% more overall for the farmers to farm and harvest and producers to produce organic foods, as well as when consumers go to buy them from the stores, they're also about 50% more. And then less yields are grown of the organic foods compared to conventional foods. And with it being grown completely naturally, organic foods spoil a lot faster, which I learned this from Organic Farming as well as J. Coulson. How organic diets negatively impact the environment are, first, it highly depends on compost of flowers, fruits, vegetables, plants, and other ingredients that they need to be able to put into the soils, as well as crop rotations, dust bowls, and erosion. If the crop rotations are not done when they need to be, where they plant new crops, dust bowls are very common, as well as erosion, which when those happen, they typically do contaminate the whole crop. As well as if you're not doing your crop rotations frequently enough, or if you're doing them too much carbon is being added to the soil, which also contaminates the food. And to be able to produce organic foods, you need more land and more resources, which costs a lot more for the farmers. So more ways that organic diets negatively impact the environment are that it takes a lot longer for the organic crops to be grown because they are grown 100% natural without fertilizers and pesticides to help them grow. And with the organic foods taking longer to grow, it takes more time for them to hit the shelves, as well as that land is occupied by the organic crops. So once they are harvested, it will take a little bit longer to get that soil ready for new crops to be grown. So the costs of organic foods, middle class and above are the only ones that can afford to have organic foods on the daily. And if we all decided we wanted to go organic, the costs overall for organic foods and farming would go up. As well as the environmental impacts of conventional farming are lower than the impacts of organic farming. And with them being grown completely natural, no pesticides, no fertilizers, pests are more attracted to the crops, which can contaminate the crops or make them unedible, which we learned from organic foods by SLU. So I pulled this chart from Our World in Data. So over here we have how it shows organic methods worse, and then down here organic methods are better. And then over here we have cereals, fruits, vegetables, dairy, eggs, meats, pulses, and other O2 crops. So if we go over here, we have our greenhouse emissions. And so we see that the only thing that falls in the completely in the better category is fruits, where everything else is kind of right above where it's worse. And then if we go to land use, we see that everything for organic farming is worse than better than conventional. And then in our middle column here, we have our organic is worse, and especially for vegetables, it's a lot worse, which is our purple. And then we have our acidification potential, which we also see everything up there is pretty much in the worst category. We have a little bit falling in these two, halfway between both. And then over here we have our energy use, which pretty much all of our categories over here fall under the better methods, which we can see that the energy use is the biggest thing that organic farming helps save in. So organic diets are not environmentally sustainable. There's negative effects of taking longer for the foods to grow, which are it can leave people going hungry because the products are taking longer to be grown as well as be harvested. And with it taking longer to be grown and harvested, it takes longer for it to hit the shelves for consumers to be able to purchase it, as well as with the amount of land that they have to use to grow the organic crops. They are also growing less yields of food, which is harder for people to be able to purchase in general. And if you're only eating organic foods, your body is cutting out some of the nutrients from conventional food. Eating one regular carrot gives you the same nutrients as 2 organic carrots. So with eating organic carrots, you're kind of losing nutrition compared to non-organic carrots. As well as a lot of organic foods are more plant-based, so you're losing the nutritional value of the other products that were once in that food and getting the plant nutrition. As well as not all foods have organic options. So your favorite food might not come in an organic option at all yet. As well as organic fertilizers can cause higher pollutants in groundwater, which then goes to run downstream into organic farming, which can help contaminate those crops. Which I learned from pediatricians breaking it down in medicine, as well as the American Council on Science and Health. So with less yields being grown, farmers produce less food per unit of land and water compared to conventional ones. As we see here, I have listed organic farming for tomatoes and strawberries is 61% less. For tangerines, it's 58% less. Cotton is 45% less. Carrots is 49% less. Rice is 39% less. And peanuts are 37% less. So these are all compared to conventional farming, which I learned from Coulson. So the key points here are there are different types and levels of organic foods, which you should know about when you're going to purchase, as well as consumers and farming costs are higher for organic farming than conventional, so every cost would go up again. Organic foods can lose nutritional value, and there is not an option for all foods to come in organic, and you're also getting a smaller quantity for a higher price, which we learned from Coulson in a TED Talk on the power of organic foods. So if we all went to organic foods, the food prices would go up and you would get smaller quantities and continue to get smaller quantities for a higher price. All prices in general would go up. If the cost of food is going up, the costs of necessities as well would go up. Gas, land, housing, everything in general would go up. More of our land would be turned into farming, so we would become a lot more of a farming country. More people would be needed in the farming industry as well. And then food would become more scarce because it takes so long to grow that we wouldn't have as much food in the stores or be able to purchase a lot of foods. And restaurants and chains as well would most likely close. So some solutions that we can use to today are you can consume organic and conventional foods. Just know the difference of the nutritional value before purchasing, and buying only the foods that you will eat so they don't get wasted or go bad and that you're not taking away from somebody else. So then here are my sources.